بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. يقول المصنف رحمه الله تعالى: باب المدبر والمكاتب وأم الولد. As we have mentioned the meaning of that, and we'll continue inshallah ta'ala studying this chapter. So the issue related to Al-Mudabbar wal-Mukatib wa Al-Walad. Al-Mudabbar wal-Mukatib wa Al-Walad. And all of this are related to the servant in the time of the generation when they have servants and how to deal with that. The most important part of this book to see the fairness and the justice in dealing with people, and always the main criteria of preference between people is piety, However, the status of the servitude or like how to get out of it, all of that has been, mentioned in the book of Allah or in the way of the Sunnah to protect the believer, according to the way of the Sharia. So the first hadith here, قال المدبر اسم مفعول وهو الرقيق الذي علق عتقه بموت مالكه. So what is المدبر in the fiqh is قال the one علق عتقه. So the freedom of this person is pending on the death of the one who gave him the freedom. And again, thinking of it as a transaction, or think of it as a contract and a partnership. قال لأن مالكه دبر أمر دنياه وأمر آخرته. أما دنياه, why? Because the master, he has managed his way related to his worldly life and his way related to his آخرة. أما دنياه فاستمرار انتفاعه بخدمته. So the master is going to be benefiting of this person serving them. وَأَمَّا آخِرَتُهُ, and as he's, hereafter, that as soon as he passed away, the servant of his is going to be, free. So by freeing that's one of the greatest sadaqah. It's like someone has, for example, a land. You say, I'm going to be using this land or this house. When I die, should go sadaqah to the orphan, for example. So here, the person is getting using it during his life to benefit of it. But as soon as he dies, he's going to turn into sadaqah. So that's how he managed the way of his worldly life and for the hereafter too. And this is also are done with this, for these cases in the generation or the society they have servant. And this is, you see it only in Islam. In Islam, where people, they seeking of their akhirah as part of their life or daily life decision. عن جابر أن رجلا من الأنصار أعتق غلاما له عن دبر ولم يكن له مال غيره فبلغ ذلك النبي فقال من يشتريه منه فاشتراه نعيم بن عبد الله ب800 درهم. I believe we already mentioned this one. وكان عليه دين فباعه ب800 درهم. A person who has only as an estate, and this is very important. And we have said in Islam they don't look at the person as being a servant, meaning that he does not have a status or he's lower, a second or third citizen. There is no such a thing in Islam. The equality and the preference between one another is based on the piety taqwa. The Prophet ﷺ said everyone equal like the teeth of a comb. However, when it comes to the society, this is different. Like today, for example, people they work double shift and 3 shift, and they always do whatever their employees they say to their employer. It becomes like a new form of servitude. People they commit suicide when they are laid off. So it's like a new form of servitude, totally different structure. Because some people sometimes they judge a social context that exists in the past, by being bad, by being unjust. You say you are judging it based on the social context today. The social context at that time, people they were happy. This is what they had. They didn't have anything else. So Islam, when it came, is to spread the justice within the structure that they had. So the solution, some people they think with the social context today said, why Islam didn't, for example, abolish slavery at all, all at once. Said that's not possible. Because Islam came to bring the guidance and to protect the rights of the people. If you say the right of a servant to be freed, okay, what is the right of the person who has it? You know, and this is the balance. So Islam does not come into the forms or into the, let's say, you know, the procedure or, you know, but it goes to the deep, which is like, can a servant be treated justly? That's the most important. A servant in this household has his freedom of ibadah, his freedom of, you know, of his rights with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the most important. That's a person, a servant can come in the day of judgment far from his master, you know. You know, one lady, she was a servant, and she making qiyamul layl, you know. So the man and his wife, they heard a sound. So they wake up, you know, looking for the sound. They look, you know, they found this, their servant making dua. She said, "Oh Allah, by the love that you have for me, you know, forgive me. Oh Allah, by the love you have for me, you know, do this for me." So the master was kind of like, look, you know, listen, afterward, after she finished the prayer, he said, "How can you dare say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the love that you have for me?" She said, "Yes, he does, subhanahu wa ta'ala." He said, "The proof of that, he make you to sleep and he make me to stand in the night praying for him." So who is better here? Is this servant, wise, smart, and giving such admonition to her master that he said, wow, you know. And there is actually some of the master begging their servant to make dua for them. Why? Because they are more pious than them. And this is, dear brother, the social context that they had. It does not have some people to judge Islam or to see like in that, you know, structure means like injustice. No, not at all. You know, so that's is very important. One of the things which is not part of the subject, you find, for example, some of the people who want to argue about Islam or debate, and especially from the Christian faith, they come and say, oh, for example, people, you know, you in Islam, you have in the Quran that a person can marry like a small girl, a minor girl. I said, where in the Quran? I said, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you know, they don't say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is part from me. Said, وَاللَّائِ يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ مِن نِسَائِكُمْ إِنْ ارْتَبْتُمْ فَعِدَّتُهُنَّ ثَلَاثَةُ أَشْهُرٍ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِضْنَ. Those who are, they give up to get the, you know, they don't think they will have menses, which is like they are in a menopause, you know, state. So their waiting period is 3 months. And the same goes for those who didn't yet have their menses. So they say, oh, you look, this is Islam, what, you know, promote the minor, you know, marriages. They said, no, this is what, you know, your sick heart want to see. Islam is speaking here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to a system that already in place. A system in place. At that time, the social context, you know, a girl from a young age should join a family where the person gonna marry her is gonna be like part of that family. You know. And then if a separation happened, because people when they think, you know, a marriage always there is intimate relation. No, the marriage in Islam does not have an intimate relation by the proof in the Baqarah. You know, you can have like marriage and then you wait for years to have the intimate relation. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about a system in place, not allowing it. And in the social context that people that don't want to see, want to understand, in that social context, you know, it's very common in that society to have a grandmother. We have, how old is the grandmother in the social context? Can you imagine how old? 19 years old. It's very common in that society, in that time, to have a grandmother, her age is 19 years old. So you see, it's very important for us to be fair, to look first at the social context that they have in generation. We cannot say what we have today as normal, as a tradition, as a habit, you know, to take it as way of criteria of judging other people. Rather. So this is why we're studying this book, because to see first is a book in the fiqh, second to inspire us about the justice of Islam, and third to help us in matters that how we can always in our relationship put in order of precedence is that justice in the relationship before anything else. We'll continue with this hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, a person who has only an estate and like in inheritance, only a servant. So this servant is like kind of what he has as wealth. So from an economic point of view, it represents that wealth, does not diminish anything from the humanity of this person, okay? So he said that he going to give, he did what we called, قال عن دبر, and this will be al-mudabbar. So as soon as this person will pass away, he will be free. But this person has a debt. So what you will advance? The good deed that this person is seeking to have by freeing this servant at the time of his death, or to pay his debt. So the payment of the debt comes as more priority, because this good deed that you're going to do is not going to help you to be forgiven from taking the money of other people. So for this reason, the Prophet ﷺ teaches us, not like for you to want to do a good deed, don't do a good deed, on behalf of something else that might cause you to have difficulties in the Day of Judgment. قال عن جابر أن رجلا أعتق غلاما له عن دبر ولم يكن له مال غيره. So he gave it his freedom, based on the contract of dubur, which is meant to be free at the time of death, and he didn't have anything else, as well. Then when the Prophet ﷺ heard, the Prophet ﷺ, who will buy him, and he gave the money, 800 dirham, and he said, take this 800 dirham and go pay your debts. That's how the priority that you need to do in your life. The next hadith, عن عمر بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جده عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال المكاتب عبد ما بقي عليه من مكاتبته درهم. Now, also to preserve the rights of everyone, especially when it comes to wealth. And you see all the problem into the society, the biggest of the problem are, subhanAllah, due to money problem. You see families, subhanAllah, they're very close to each other. As soon as they have some inheritance, they, subhanAllah, the conflict starts to the end of time. And the longest ayah in the Quran, the whole page is about money. It's about loan. In the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest ayah in the Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced that ayah after he said, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. The last ayah in the Quran that Allah revealed comes before the ayah of the money, of the loans and the money and dealing with money. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ قال ثم توفى نفس كل بما كسبت وهم لا يظلمون. And everyone will be held accountable on what they have done. This is the last ayah revealed in the Quran. Where is the last ayah revealed in the Quran? Is before the ayah of ad-dayn, before the ayah of the money. So when it comes to money, someone needs to be very careful. So what is al-mukatabu? What is al-mukatab? Al-mukatab is the right of a servant to say, I want to get out of this servitude and pay for my freedom. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in this condition, if someone wants to do that, then encourage them to do it. Encourage them to do it. And this is in the line of drying out or the channel of the servitude. That's one. The second thing he said, إِنْ عَلِمْتُمْ فِيهِمْ خَيْرًا. إِنْ عَلِمْتُمْ فِيهِمْ خَيْرًا. If you know that this is going to be beneficial for the society. Because there is some people, if they go out of the society, they will be spreading mischief. They will be cunning, they will be plotting. So if they are pious people, if they are good people, they're going to make a difference. So help them, get them out of the society. They're going to be a good guide. They're going to be source of good inspiration for others. قال وآتوهم من مال الله الذي آتاكم, and help them to pay their debts. So this is the principle here. Now the Prophet ﷺ come to add to that, to have us that balance. قال المكاتب عبد ما بقي عن مكاتبته درهم. So the mukatab, the one who writes this contract, he's still a servant. An agreement, he's still a servant as long as 1 dirham of the agreed price remains to be paid. So you see, now here we have to regard it as a loan. And when it is a loan, your dhimma, which is like your responsibility in front of Allah, is fully, fulfilled when you pay the whole amount. When you pay the whole amount. Even when it comes to such a good deed and great deed like this, you have. So a person will say, yeah, I'm still, a servant till I pay all my money. Not like I paid part and then, that's it. I have to go. And I said, no, the fulfillment of rights, the fulfillment of dues, the fulfillment of promises, the fulfillment of the duyun is something that's sacred in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next hadith, وعن أم سلمة قالت قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان لإحدى كن مكاتب وكان عنده ما يؤدي فلتحتجب منه. Now it comes, subhanallah, to the relation that the servant that they have with their family. And we said the servant, he has kind of a kinship. They develop a kinship. That's why there is even a relationship of inheritance that is developed by them. And the servant in the house, it becomes like type of mahram. So the women, they do not have to put their hijab in front of their servant. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he said, قال, when a servant of one of your women has made an agreement to pay for his freedom and can pay the full price, she must veil herself from him. Now that he becomes free, then you have to put your hijab on freedom. Not when he fulfilled the whole freedom, when he have enough amount of money to pay for his freedom. That's it. He becomes like haram. And this is, subhanAllah, to define the relation. If someone has that, then he becomes like she has to observe her veil in front of this person. We'll stop here, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to not go more than 20 minutes. And we can go further in analysis of this hadith. There is a few hadiths inshallah, by next week we'll finish it, maybe, inshallah ta'ala. And then we have, as I have said, Kitab al-Jama'. It has the book of the etiquette, the book of the dua, all of that, inshallah. We're going to move it to the halaqah of the Friday after finishing, inshallah, the book of Ibn Hazm, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. The book of Ibn Hazm. And on Tuesday, we're going to bring another study, and it might be an advanced study for those who really want to have advanced study. And we are thinking, wallahu alam, not yet decided to make sharh of Al-Shatibiyyah in ulum al-qira'at, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu. If you have any question,